Welcome back to the European Regional Qualifier where ROC is up 2-2-0. Now, before we get to Game 3 on September 8th, the 5 new project skins will break free from the PvE and hit the live client. Not only do they have unique particles and animations, but you can unleash special project minions onto the Rift when you sync up your skins with the rest of your team. For more information, head over to LeagueOfLegends.com.
First we give them a pool party, now we're giving them biometric upgrades as well. These minions are really living it large right now.
I'm just sad their lifespan is so short because we cycle a whole lot every time we hit the Rift.
Yeah, at least they get funny hats, so that's a lot of fun. Anyway, turning back to the match at hand. Match point for ROC. So let's recap what happened before the break in Game 2 that brought them to match point. Let's take a look at the picks and bans and the adaptations coming in. The Diana is something that they definitely heard.
They did. I'm glad they brought the Diana out. We talked about how it should be a stylistic improvement for the Giants, and it should have been. But great focus from ROC onto what should have been a big strong point. And, you know, we wanted to take a look at some of the early game plays that ROC were making against the Diana. 3 consecutive plays onto that mid lane when we look at it. The first one, hopefully we'll get that up for you guys in just a couple of minutes. But the first play, you know, was looking to get the kill. They still had the advantage in the middle lane on experience because of the first blood. So, you know, we'll take a look at that in a sec.
We will. Trevor?
Yes, let's pull that replay up and talk about the focus that ROC put onto Pepinero, because it was a second time that we see Pepinero being the heavy focus. Now, as Stress had mentioned, Pepinero had come into lane with a level advantage thanks to the first blood that they picked up on Mr. Rolls. Mr. Rolls made a very basic face check. So here's a gank on Peppy. Once we see this play out, we're going to see a repeat gank on Peppy and a repeat gank on Peppy. When you've got such a big threat in the mid lane that also had the advantage because of the lane presence and the pressure, it's a good call from ROC to try and shut him down.
Overall, I like Pepinero's Diana in this game. He got, you know, as we said before, that 1 extra creep worth of experience. It's not much, but it allowed him to level up to level 2 on the first wave. He immediately punished Nuke Duck. He got ahead. ROC said, okay, we have a problem. How do we solve it? Well, we kill it a couple of times. Usually when you have so many people commit on a single lane, you want to cross-map them. You want to get something somewhere else on the map. And Giants, they fail to do that. And that's what I lack in Giants today. Like, they're not seizing the opportunities that are given to them by ROC. And that's what we have in our second replay as well. We can get that on your screen right now. Giants are already behind. There's a tower dive coming in from ROC. And if this plays out textbook-wise, Giants are even further behind it. But ROC, they're missing a couple of abilities. Body Slam flash in the bottom of your screen will miss now from Jankos on Whirl Up. Gangplank ulti doesn't really connect. Everything is going great for Giants here. Even Freddy can make his way out of here to the left side. Gragas ulti is down, so right now in the bottom of your screen, you have the AD carry pushing alone in the lane. But then Whirl Up's like, guys, I gotta make a play. We gotta get back into this game. He runs in like a headless chicken, sacrifices himself, sacrifices the jungler. Suddenly, that's not a chicken. The tower goes down, and suddenly everybody in Giants is dying, and Audrey's in the bot lane saying, what the hell is going on, guys? I have a free tier 2 tower here that I can push. Just chill. But Giants, they try to do too much, and then at times where they actually have to step up and do something, they do nothing. And it's a bigger problem as well. This could be Giants' last game of the 2015 season. You step back and you look at the bigger picture. This is a team composition that screamed Giants from Spring Split. It screamed chaos. It screamed skirmishes, team fights, what we felt they needed to beat ROC at. Coming into the summer split, Giants made changes because Spring was rough there to re-qualify through promo tournament. They replaced their support, they bring in Godfrey. They go 4-1 in their first 5 games. It blew all of us away. We all went, look, Giants are the real deal, they're legit. In their last 10 games, they've lost 9 of them. The problem is, Giants have not continued that growth. Every other team has started to figure them out. Giants are making more and more basic mistakes as other teams are growing, and that's why Giants are continuing to struggle. They got 3-0'd in the quarterfinals, and they're very realistically about to get 3-0'd by ROC today.
And if they don't make a big statement in picks and bans here, ROC, as you said, are likely to take a third game. ROC have had such a flexible picks and bans phase. Giants have been rigid. They can only do a certain number of things because there are certain picks that they either haven't showed us or can't play. They aren't able to play the AD carry focus play style. On the other side, we've just seen the Gangplank come out from Steve. It was fairly impressive. It now puts a marker on tomorrow's series, potentially, if they get there, with the Gangplank, both top laners play it. But certainly, it's just another pick for ROC that is going to be problematic for Giants. I do like some of the progression we've seen from ROC. They have definitely solidified their vision control. They were pushing their leads. They were going around the map, targeting the right objectives, maybe just the lack of execution. But overall, ROC did look better, so that's one thing we can take away from this series.
ROC looking better and on course to take it 3-0. We'll see if Giants can pull it back. The teams are set on stage, so we're going to pass it over to Pulse and the Fish Show.
Thank you very much, Shocks. And before we get to picks and bans, a quick reminder to stay with us after today's series in Berlin, because the North American LCS team will pick up where we leave off with Cloud9 and Gravity in their first round of their regional qualifier.
So, of course, after here, let's see if Rocket can take a 3-0. So far, they've honestly been in control most of the time in these games, especially game 1. It was very little Giants could do after they fell behind early on. And I almost feel like it was the same in game 2. Once again, Giants taking fights they don't have to, results in Rocket getting a lot of early kills, and then it just makes it so hard for Giants to do anything on the map with the comps they're running. Back in pick and bans though, once again, as we have highlighted, Giants will be on blue side because Rocket in game 1, 3, and 5 decided to take red side. So they could ban Jax Morgana. Once again, Giants haven't really shown anything that will make a change, but I'm happy about this ban from Giants. I think Shen is one of the biggest problems because every single time you try and 1v1 in a side lane, it is never a 1v1 because Vander on Shen joins in. This should have been banned in the last game, but I'm happy to see it now from Giants.
Yeah, and last time they banned out the Kalista, the Lulu, the Elise. Already changing up with the Shen right here. We see the Jax ban now coming out as well. And this will be the 22nd time now.
Give me a Lulu ban from Giants and then give me Kalista ban in the end. Give Elise over to Jankos. I know it's tough to deal with it in the early game, but still with the way Rocket likes to play early game, it doesn't necessarily mean Jankos is going to do a whole lot on an Elise, and you've got to take the chance. Unless you want to first pick Kalista for Adri. Something we haven't seen work for Giants other than one game, all split long.
Yeah, he's played it 3 times, and as you mentioned, yeah, 1 win. So they could do that, but again, they're thinking hard about it. Only 7 seconds left. It will be Elise or Kalista here most likely. Then Rocket get the pick of the litter. It's going to be Fizz, okay, so leaving Kalista and Elise up.
I mean, everything screams first pick Kalista from Giants with these bans coming in. Rocket banned Trundle in the last game because they were a little bit afraid maybe the Giants would run the Shen first pick and then Trundle later and have a very strong split push that way. You can still ban the Trundle now that Shen is gone, so it becomes a little bit more difficult to deal with him. But you also got to look at potentially Elise. Do you want to get rid of it? Seeing as the fact that Giants could first pick it, but I'm more expecting a Kalista, even though it would still surprise me because it is Adri who's going to play it for Giants.
So Rocket predict that Giants will once again swap up and go for a poke composition. They ban away the Varus, so they take away one of the big proponents of that from Pepinero. Those triple flex bans coming in from Giants means they can read Rocket a lot more easily in this Champion Select. What are we going to see? Is it going to be first pick Kalista?
But it's a good point you just made right there with their flex picks being banned away, because that has been what Rocket did so well on purple side. Get a lot of early flex picks, very difficult for Giants to know exactly who was going where. We saw the Gangplank come in against the Olaf as a last pick in game 2. But yeah, I mean, again, Kalista first pick is what you normally see in this case, but Elise as well is open. Funny enough, they banned Elise twice instead of wanting it as a potential first pick themselves because they wanted to get it banned away from Jankos and then first pick like Lulu first game, then Sivir the next game, even though they didn't have to. Rocket, though, getting power picks everywhere. They do show the lanes, though, very early.
They do, yeah. Both of the solo laners have been revealed, and we know they're going to go there. Gangplank and Azir so far. What's it going to be from Giants?
So, about this Gangplank early pick, the reason Rocket can go for it is Fizz is being banned away, who is an okay matchup into him, and then Riven would be the other pick, but we haven't seen where they played. I was randomly, though, spectating him in solo queue where he did play Riven.
Okay.
So if he's confident enough, he can take that matchup and punish Rocket for early showing the Gangplank. Obviously not in this rotation, he can wait for the next one. And it would still fit into the style we like to see from Giants, where he can be on a massive split pushing threat.
Yeah. Well, I like myself some Riven, but we are going to see, first off, the Alistar and the Ezreal. Could be a bizarre flex, but most likely going to be going on to Adri. We did see Power of Evil, of course, pick up the Ezreal.
This is one of the most safe bot lanes you can run. Nothing is going to happen in that lane if you are Giants. You're going to farm and heal and sit back. So they're definitely expecting Rallis to go for Kalista here. And they're going to say, okay, we know we're going to lose that lane, so we're just going to farm it out. We're not going to risk anything if you lock in Kalista, now that we leave it open. But the thing is, yes, it might be a strong pick for Rocket and Rallis, but they don't necessarily have to pick it no matter what. Because you can still look at what is it your team composition need. We saw the Sivir Azir in the last game, how it gives them a lot of flexibility. You can both disengage with the Sivir ulti and Azir. You can also play very aggressive. Set up that Azir all in where he can knock someone back with his own ulti due to that movement speed. So Rocket basically saying, we see what you're doing. We know you want a defensive lane, but we're not just going to go for the Kalista. We build more for the team here.
Build for the team and build for the disengage. Picked up the Gragas here. I'll be going on to Jankos most likely. The Sivir as well. Just speed everyone up. Get everyone for the engage, the disengage. It's all good.
Is gonna Xerath?
He was thinking about it.
Because
over it. He has played it before.
You got their
once.
Ezreal already. No, don't give me AP Ezreal. I don't want to see it. But you have Ezreal already, which we would expect to go to Adri, unless you want to go Kalista. Xerath, add that in. Good matchup into the Azir. You have the Elise as well, who works really well in poke comps. So you would have a poke composition that could start grouping fairly early on, like just one item with the Azir Elise especially. Seems like it's going to be Ezreal mid though. And if he's not taking Smite, is it going to be what we have seen before from Pepinero, the AD Ezreal?
Yeah.
Trinity Force, Iceborne Gauntlet. Not Trinity, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Trinity Force. Their tier, Manamune
build
into Iceborne Gauntlet. Not sure why I thought that was a Trinity Force.
Basically the same thing. But we did have the Maokai picked up. That's a Steve special. We'll be going up to Whirlip this time. So seeing him on a tank rather than a straight-up split pusher or a duelist. Of course, the ancestors were talking earlier about Mara and his big, Maokai carry. Haven't really seen anyone else in the world do that. So Whirlip going to be on a tank.
A lot of physical damage from Giants, and it's a tank into a Gangplank. Rocket still has the last pick to say, okay, you guys are building. Obviously a double 80 carry setup, so we need something to reach that back line. Gangplank barrels, you have Azir buffed up by the Sivir. There are ways here for Rocket. With Annie Flash now, great pickup here. Really gives him a lot of options when it comes to reaching these 280 carries. Giants as well, if it is 80 Ezreal, which we are expecting now, seeing as he has played it before. Very physical damage focused. Elise tends to build Jogger, Cinderhold. It's going really great now. Jogger more. Elise builds Jogger more. She builds Cinderhold, obviously very often in the jungle. So while her AP damage is fine in the early game, late game you don't really care too much about it. Same for the Maokai damage. So a lot of armor stacking can happen on the side of Rocket with this Gragas at least. Obviously Gangplank likes to build full damage, so he's not going to be that effective at shutting down. But double 80 carry against the amount of damage on the side of Rocket, and now engaged with both Gragas, Sivir, and Annie. I have to say that I really feel like Rocket has been winning out in this pick and ban phase again. Honestly, they have so many ways of dealing with double 80 carry here.
Yeah, well, you just saw the coaches. Could be the last time for today that we see them shake hands. But as you mentioned, yeah, Rocket have a lot of tools to deal with what Giants have in this game. Got a lot of engage, got the Annie, but remember, keep us updated at LoL Esports. Tweet hashtag GIA win or ROC win. And will Rocket secure this week? Could be the 3-0 up against Giants. Another series, another best of 5 where they get swept. Would not be what the Giants want. Can they take one game? Again, they come in with the adaptations. Again, they come in with something different with this poke composition. Will it work? We're about to find out as we head into this potential last game. It is game 3 between Giants and Rocket.
Just to update everyone, it is the AD Ezreal for Pepinero in the mid lane. Nuke Duck as well running with teleport because Ezreal in the laning phase is not very strong. So you don't necessarily need a defensive summoner. And because what Giants have been building around so often has been split pushing, but not this case. This is a team fighting composition for Giants. Rocket on the other hand, doing exactly the same, just have the option because you have a Gangplank to split push. I'm a bit surprised though about the TP on Nuke Dog.
Jankos has found Pepinero. Pepinero may need to flash here, or he may just die for first blood going over to Steve. Picked up that Duran's Blade, and he'll be going back for probably another item before this is all done. And now the invade comes in from Rocket to get that vision.
Love me some W early on Annie. Instant stun. Vander going for it, Pepinero not reacting in time. Second game though we see at level 1 where someone dies fairly foolishly, honestly. Giants might look for a little bit more.
Yeah, this could be a little dangerous. Vander did use his stun right there, and he landed on Whirlip, and Frederick and Whirlip are chasing him out of this jungle. Barrel comes down. That'll be the zoning barrel, and also gets taken out. 10 gold in the bank.
So Rocket gets all the vision here early on. Giants, instead of trying to trade or mirror what Rocket is doing, wanted to take the fight. So they only got one ward here on the Grump. We'll give them some information on where the bottom lane is starting for Rocket or where the jungle is starting. But obviously not the same amount here. Rocket is basically trying to cover every single way, every single entrance toward that top side. And seeing as Willip didn't leave the lane yet, Rocket also saw that, and they're now invading in to stop this Grump from going down.
Well, they did it last time, but it was against their counterparts. This time Frederick will smite us away. Rales puts down the boomerang and is able to put them a little low. Godfred rowing up here. The flash and the pulverize does find Rales, but they don't have a whole lot more CC. Oh, there's the cocoon coming out. Rales is dropping low. He's already used the flash, but he does have the heal. There it is. Whirlip and Godfred still chasing after. The sapling slows him down. Whirlip comes into flash auto, gets the second auto and finishes him off. Vanda also pulverized up. Frederick comes in here, already landed a venomous bite, and will be backing away. Another nice return kill coming in from Giants.
So Rocket invading in to see who was starting the Grump here. Seeing as they hadn't seen Kalista, they must have expected it to be Whirlip and Frederick. Only got a little bit of damage down, didn't really manage to do a whole lot, and then Godfred moving up. Love to see Riders just instant flash away. Don't take the chance, don't risk that flash pulverize coming in from Godfred. In the end though, 1 for 1 in kills. We're back to having a lot of different action in the early stages, even before minions spawned. 2 guys went down. Oh well, minions were in place in lane, they had to spawn.
Yeah. But still, 2 kills at 3 minutes. Very different from game 1, looking more towards the second game. Still not quite, they kind of just run at you and will have a lot of action.
But yeah, no flash
looking
now.
for another gank in this top lane. Has this red buff. Steve coming in as well for this gank. The stun goes down onto Godfred. He's low. He's already used the flash before, remember, for that flash. Pulverize and the knock-up. And Rales will come in with that kill. He puts the cow down and gets some revenge.
So I like the adaptation for Rocket in saying, you guys have a wave that's going to push towards us because you already killed so many of the minions that we're gonna either set up a freeze or you have to overextend to shove it out so we can go get the kill. Because what it also means is once you see Godfred on the top side, you know bot lane is just a one-on-one, and Steve had TP ready so you can catch the wave while the Maokai got shut down from the gank. So Steve now getting quite an advantage in terms of CS at least, even though experience is the key one, and that's also what he's getting. Because Whirlip right now is being zoned off minions despite having a lease, and he has to wait for him to come down. He's going to pick them up now. He's going to get this entire wave, so at least he will get some farm too. But Rocket basically saying, you have to overextend without any flashes. Going to go early gank you and then TP bottom lane with Steve.
Frederick is waiting in the wings here, in the brushes in the top lane. But here's recalling. Rales is playing this safe, or not anymore. He's level 2. Doesn't have any summoners, remember. And Vander did get hit by that sapling.
Send in Vander.
Oh, he's going to go in. And does get cocooned. There's the follow-up of the spider form. Do they have enough damage, though? Whirlip now coming in. The sapling will land onto Rales. Whirlip does have his Twisted Advance, but only just gets level 3 there. And Frederick was dropping low, so he will just back off.
So in the end, Frederick doesn't get anything. No summers being blown. We're already down. So a lot of things been happening early on. A lot of flashes being blown. Adri's been down his bottom lane on his own, shoving it in. Couldn't get a freeze because... not really sure what he was doing at level 1 if he were in a situation where he could have frozen the wave, which is always, if you want to go defend top side and you can get an easy freeze at level 1 as an AD carry in the lane stop, do it. Because it's just so much more effective at denying farm. You saw how much Steve got in that lane once he TP'd down. So despite him having to invest into a gank top, he still got 2 or 3 waves when he TP'd down bottom lane.
And Godfred now sitting in the top lane, taking turns, and who can gank this duo lane? And now Jankos moving into this jungle. Doesn't have any vision over Frederick right now. He's gone for his red buff. Mid lane, we haven't spoken too much about. There's not a whole lot has happened. It is Pepinero versus Nuke Duck. Has gone for that tier start, as you mentioned. Whirlip in the top lane, though. Twisted Advance goes onto Vander, and Jankos will find him with the body slam, keeping that barrel there. So Whirlip has to take the scenic route to get to safety, and going to the bush was not safety.
Just another gank from Rocket. There's 0 wards being placed despite 2 trinkets being ready. On the side of Giants, you have your support there as well. Someone needs to go out and invest into early vision. I wonder if Godfred went back and just only got boots. Let's see what happened here. Now ulti's up. Vander. Oh, whoa, whoa. But early boots from Godfred. So wanted more so he could roam, but meant he couldn't afford any wards when he went back. And you still have a no-flash Maokai in a lane where he had to once again overextend for it, really making it difficult to defend him. Steve obviously not really going to do a whole lot in the one-on-one. but has been getting all the experience down here, level 5 for himself.
Yeah, he's fine. He's ahead of Whirlup in terms of that, at least. And he does have that kill, of course. Basically equal farm. Rales so far has not been farming as well as Adri, since there's been a lot of people up there trying to stop him from doing just that. Adri, meanwhile, has just been in the bottom lane, basically uncontested CS up against Steve. And Rales and Vanda will find themselves in the bottom lane once again.
So I just went back and looked on my own screen here. Godfrey did go back and just went for boots. 0 wards. Now he's doing exactly the same again. He's got Moby boots, so he really wants to have an impact on the map, but he provides 0 vision for his team. And due to the fact that they use so many summoners, see what happens here. Vanda's no summoner, but Jankos is here.
This is not going to work out well for the Giants. Godfrey uses the minion taxi to try and get to safety. The flash into the ultimate from Nukedug. Again, takes it out. Godfrey, he's only level 3, man. Level 7 is here.
Yeah, now this is super under-level support. He's gone full focus on mobility. Even though, as I mentioned before, so many summoners were blown. Now we might see another one.
Oh, good cocoon in from Frederick. Did CC up Jankos. Those stacks are steadily building from Adri for this rend. Jankos needs to get out of here. Oh, body slam over the wall. Frederick looking for the execute. Gets him down with a venomous bite. Sinks those fangs in and picks up a kill. 1-0 over to Giants after all of that.
So this time a good reaction from Giants. Had TP ready. Rocket opted to go for the dive. Very aggressive and honestly greedy play right here. Even though Steve could TP as well, still it opens up mid lane because Pepinard never moved. It was Nukedog who TP'd down bottom lane, joined in on that gank, turned it around. Rocket Shooter said that's fine, we get a kill. Go back to our lanes because now Giants are getting so much damage on this mid tower.
Yeah, Nukedog should get here before they are able to take the turret, but still, it's a lot of damage Rocket didn't need on that middle turret going down. He's building towards Nash's Tooth once again. Meanwhile, Pepinero has had that tier for a while, so he's busy farming that up, as you mentioned, for the Muramana, Glass Whisper, all of that good stuff. Godfrey came in for the headbutt. Will be flashed away by Rales this time.
Good flash from Rales. Had his spells shielded, one of the spells would have hit him. Anyway, Vander now needs to stun him up because Whirlup is going aggressive.
Coming in for the re-engage, pop the ultimate already. Steve now coming into this fight, should be enough to disengage at least. There's the chain of barrels, does not connect with the retreating tree. Frederick is still there. The stun was not charged up with the Pyromania from Vander. Whirlup will use his W to get to this Grump, try and back away. Godfrey, he's still level 3, but he still has headbutt. He's going to knock him towards the Grump. And Whirlup has been CC'd up underneath this turret, taking the wrong escape route. Godfrey, actually, for trying to assist his top lane, is probably going to fall here as well. Steve is the one to parlay him to death. And again, he goes down, a 2-0. Vanden caught out by Frederick, maybe picked up. Has popped the Molten Shield. Rales now coming into this fight, may pick him up. Repel comes up, comes in, gets the execute, takes him down with Q, but trades 1-for-1, a 3-for-1 overall in favor of Rocket.
Can someone please respect the fact that teleports are in the game? We keep seeing both teams looking for dives where the enemy top lane can TP down and stop it and turn it around. First, Rocket did it, caused them a lot of damage in mid lane and a kill. Now Yank is going for Adri into the tower.
Great barrel, also cleared out all of those minions, so immediately aggroed Adri. Jankos with the outplay.
Just too easy though.
Yeah.
Clear out the minions, use the smite I believe in the end as well, and then just knock him into the tower when there's no minions left. You know it's gonna switch over to the AD carry. Adri not reading the situation, but really, then Giants down bottom lane saying, okay, now we're gonna go for a dive. After they forced a flash from Rales, they could just take it and hit the tower, get a lot of damage on it. They wanted more. And that means Steve can now TP down, suddenly turn it around on the side of Rocket, more kills for them. Really some unnecessary dives from both teams. Just getting damage on the towers is more than enough. You don't have to always go for the kills.
Feels like both teams are slipping a little in this one, in this third game. I mean, the other two games weren't maybe the cleanest, but still, they were thinking a little more about the decisions. So far, it's just been constant action, constant, let's go for this fight. It seems good. Let's not think about any of the summoners they may have, and let's go for it. And time and time again,
and
teleports come in.
It is impossible to make it a low-risk situation when you go for the dives, because again, as you said, you don't think about the summoners at the same time. Something we highlighted earlier, Godfrey going for very early Moby boots and 0 wards on 2 or 3 backs in a row. So there was no vision really to spot where is Rocket sending their members. And in order to set up a low-risk tower dive, you need deep vision so you can see, okay, where's the enemy jungler coming, or who's moving down towards this top side, or this tower here. And you need to have, of course, the summoners under control, and Adri now going down.
Flash into the tib is Adri kiting away, but it's just a question of who the kill's going to go to at this point. It will go to Rales, and Godfred does want to make haste and get out of here. He's only now level 4. There's the Ezreal ultimate, clearing out no minions. And bottom turret will go down to Roccat. And we'll carry on the push, actually. Frederick is in the bottom side of the map, but there's no AD carry, no real wave clear out from Frederick or Godfred. Vander wants him. He wants the stun. He gets the stun. Jankos does not have his ultimate, though. And now they will make the way out, maybe looking for Dragon.
And when Rocket has made a mistake in this series, they maybe have given up a tower, maybe a kill. Before they gave up 1 kill and a lot of damage on mid tower, but never the same amount that Giants gives up whenever they make the mistakes. When they overcommit, it's like 2 or 3 guys dying, it's a tower going down, it's a dragon going down, because Rocket always sets themselves up a lot better for these fights here before they even start. And also it seems like Giants really overcommit. Godfred going down beforehand when he tried to help them out, instead of saying, okay, Wallop, you're done. You're done, so just die. Instead, he walked in, tried to help him, ends up dying as well.
Yeah.
And really, for Giants, they just, again, just a step behind very often.
Steve, in this top lane, has just been gradually accumulating kills with his TPs, has been farming away, having a pretty happy game, honestly, playing against a champion who's played oh so often in this split. And that means he can just get all of this farm, basically. Has picked up the Phage this time around. Last time picked up the Sheen first. Looking for the extra damage this time. Just trying to get slowly towards that Trinity Force. Frederick and Wurlup, seeing he's recalled, will go into this jungle. Maybe try and get some vision. And Jankos is in the top sides of the map. Just uses Smite.
Not a real vision to get, because all you have is a Trinket Ward on the side of Maoka. Now Nukdog is going to join together with Jankos. Another fight.
Oh, Wurlup CC'd up. Vander's here as well for the party. There's the ultimate coming in from Azir. Takes him out. Vander's the one to pick up that kill. The body slam into the flash should be securing the second. Godfred comes in with a combo, but honestly, what's it going to do here? Not a whole lot. The jungle and the support were looking to follow after. 2-0 going over to them. And as you mentioned, what were Giants doing there? What could they achieve by going into that jungle?
I think maybe they're trying to sneak down behind Nukdog and see if they can set up a kill. But your mid laner is an Ezreal who can't really assist you on it.
Right.
That's why we saw Godfred move in as well near the mid lane. But again, you have 0 vision in the enemy jungle, so whenever you go for these aggressive plays, you have no clue who's showing up. You have no clue how many members are there. Vander has a fantastic time again, roaming around. Now another fight in top lane. TP coming in from Nukdog. Here's Jankos as well. Wurlup, my friend.
Oh, he's going to flash away, and Nukdog's going to say, okay, he's here. He's going to pick up the kill.
Now, this obviously had nothing to do with Vander, but almost every other kill we have seen in this series, Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Vander's been part of it. His roams have been very, very good, and he's really been setting up a lot of things for Rocket when it comes to terms of vision, when it comes to terms of joining the fights obviously in time. His anti-play has been spot on. So far, he's been my MVP.
Yeah, he's been honestly super strong through the series. I remember saying at around this time, last game, that Vander was 0-0-8, and he's basically the same here, 1-1-8 right now. You can see the fan vote has changed a little since Game 1, 80% before to Giants, now only 48%.
And we're looking now at what is it Giants are trying to accomplish with their composition here. Typically, when you run AD Israel, you want something like a Corki with it. You get a bit of mixed AP damage, and you get a very strong spike in the mid-game, especially around 20-minute mark, where you have Trinity Force and Magic Penetration on Corki. You have, obviously, the stacked up tier, or close to stacked up tier in the Israel, and then add in a Sheen at least. So you have very strong spike on both these AD carries. You have a Kalista here, though. You don't want to siege with a Kalista at all. Like, Kalista is not a sieging champion. She wants to teamfight this. She wants to skirmish a lot more. That doesn't really fit in with the Ezreal pick at all from what Giants want to play. They obviously want to get into team fights, but it becomes a lot more tricky because Pipino needs a lot more time then. If it's not about the poke, if it's about an all-in team fight to match the damage of an Azir, it's never going to happen for him. So you're going to have these fights where Giants might look to try and kite quite a lot with this Ezreal here. And like Kelly's always jumping back, but then suddenly Wurlup going to the front line with their Alistar is going to be with their Maokai, it's going to be very easy for Rocket to zone him out. And this kiting should never happen against the flash tippers, against a flash body slam. ulti from Gangplank to slow them down. There's a lot of ways for Rocket to get onto Giants. So this comp here really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's just super difficult for Giants to play it out.
I mean, I was going to say, it's difficult enough with this composition versus what Rocket are running, but they're also 8,000 gold behind. So trying to make that happen, if you get hit by one CC, okay, maybe we can back off, but that CC is going to hit, and that member's probably going to die from Giants before they get out of the CC. So it's going to be a challenge for them, and that was just another tower going over to Rocket. So again, just constantly getting objectives, constantly building up these advantages.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back again to how risky and difficult it is to play this comp. You have 0 proper wave clear.
Right.
Ezreal is not going to wave clear anything other than when his ulti is ready, and he's AD, so he's not going to one-shot the wave. Kalista needs a Hurricane before she can fast push waves, but it's not reliable wave clear. You're against Azir, Gangplank, and Sivir. 3 champions who can instant shove waves, who can zone you off towers very, very effectively. You got attack speed, Nash's Tooth, you got attack speed from Sivir when you pop the W. Rocket can so easily take down towers in just a matter of a few seconds, and there's nothing to respond from Giants other than a hard engage. And in order for that hard engage to happen, it's obviously Wurley being there, potentially getting home guard on this Maokai, but when he engages in, the 280 carries don't want to follow. They want to stay in the back line, because if they get too close, everything on the side of Rocket is basically going to one-shot them. So you have this weird combo where Maokai goes in to stop the push, and the AD carries step backwards to avoid getting one-shotted, and then suddenly you just zone out the Maokai, worst case, and just kill him.
Well, Willip has identified that he needs to be the engager, he needs to get in, but he doesn't have those boots yet, so he can't upgrade to the home guards and get those home guard teleport plays happening. He has gone for the first item, Righteous Glory. Remember, that did take a hit in terms of numbers. We typically see top lanes who run that go for like a defensive item first, like a component of like a Frozen Heart or a Spectre's Cowl, something like that, but has gone for that immediately, so he's able to get that extra movement speed, try and go for these engages, but so far we haven't really seen Giants group up and go for an engage. It's always been them getting caught out, someone dying, going into a fight that's already basically lost.
It was too early for them anyway to group up. I mean, they needed more time on the Ezreal in the mid lane really to start
it's only 80
scaling
minutes.
up. So, like, when you have Kalista, you obviously bank on the fact that you can win the early game as well, at least your lane, with how strong Kalista can be, and then you have this very, very good skirmish with the player of the Ruined King, where you can duel most AD carries. But that was never a thing, because Giants fell so far behind, but White's like once again making some very aggressive calls that got spotted by Rocket. They got a few kills from it, and then suddenly we even see Yanko solo out the Kalista up in top lane. And like, we never got to see that dual power. Now suddenly, we have 280 carries sitting in mid together trying to share farm, which means nobody's really happy. Because nobody wants to share as an AD carry. You want to get solo farm, and now Rocket's just going to engage.
Yeah, Rallis is going to click R, and the rest of the team is going to follow. Flashes over the wall, looking for Peppy, gets him, and takes him down. Nukeduck looking for the follow-up as well onto Frederick. And that forces yet another flash. Giants just losing summoners, losing ground. And now the middle turret is going to be pushed in. There's one minion is going to die.
Another wave of minions on the way, ready to get killed by this tower. To allow Rocket to push it. But you mentioned it, there's Zir, there's Sivir, how quick it is for them. Smack it down. I mean, even Gragas can add in some bonus damage from the tower.
Yeah, a rise from Nukeduck even, just a lot of damage. It's honestly insane. That tower died so quickly. Steve in the bottom lane wasn't even there. Remember, he has his passive, which also applies on turrets, 50%, but still it's true damage. Pepinero coming back out of base, and you know, we have that question, is Pepinero going to turn up? Because we've seen a downward trend from him, and like, he hasn't done badly, but there's been a lot of decisions as a team that has just not really allowed him to get into the game. I mean, the Diana game as well, he got camped and wasn't able to do a whole lot, and also died a lot.
Sure, I mean, it's not just him, obviously. Yeah. As a team, Giants really struggled to enable Pepinero, but his own champion pool, we have to highlight, is a problem. I mean, I feel like all the EU mid laners who cannot play like a Zia Victor already put yourself in a disadvantage in the pick and ban phase. I mean, the Victor pick here has been huge for Nukeduck in first game 1 now, again in game 2, even though he's not been the big carry in this game. The fact that he isn't a Zir just gives him so much more. I mean, they say he's not been the big carry. He's done some fantastic plays. He's a Flash Tibbers, by the way.
Flash Tibbers and a dead Ezreal. Brutal. Yeah, but as you mentioned, yeah, 0-3 on that pick from Pepinero. Just every Victor game hasn't worked out. And if you can't play it, then yeah, you're hamstrung in Champions League.
And then you gotta go for something like an AD Israel suddenly, which is a poor matchup into a Z in the first place and just doesn't fit into anything. Really makes it so difficult for Giants. Anyhow, praise to Rocket for how well they're playing out, especially this game. They had one poor dive in the bottom lane. Outside of that, they have been in full control once again. They're playing around the map, rotating really well. Vander is roaming everywhere and being part of almost anything. And we get to see strong individual play as well from Nukeduck, from Rallis. And Steve has honestly done a fine job. Wasn't 100% impressed by his gangplank in game 2, but this one, he hasn't really been challenged.
Yeah. But the difference is as well, Rocket has had pretty solid early games every single time in this series, and that's down to a little bit from Giants pulling in Godfred, and he's like, nope, I'm out. I'm not going to engage for you. But yeah, Rocket have had some pretty good early games that's transitioned well into the mid game. They've made some good decisions. I want to see Rocket, if they manage to get out of this series, looking pretty positive right now against the rest of the teams.
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah. But how they do in the early game and how they transition that into the mid game. Can they continue to build that platform for themselves to make those good decisions?
That's really going to be the big thing, seeing as Origin is waiting next.
Yeah, and we know how strong they are in the
whole other monster to deal with. So we got to look at the positive trends here from the side of Rocket, especially pick and ban phase for me. Big highlight, big plus for them. Yamato Cannon before the game again saying 5-14. It was his patch. He knew how to pick and ban properly, and his team is showing. They play Fizz, they play Lulu, they play Shen, they play Gangplank. They have all these picks. Azir as well, now that we've highlighted him so many times. We know Victor is a massive pick for Nukeduck. So all these very contested meta picks.
They're also mega picks.
They're also mega picks in many ways. Are there for Rocket. They're showing they know how to flex pick them. They're showing they have so many different compositions, and that's going to be key for them.
Well, Nukeduck potentially caught out here, but is taking a bunch of damage. There's a shutdown going over to Peppy. Vander's going to be caught as well. All of Giants are closing in, but here comes the teleport from Steve. This is a 3 versus 5 for Rocket, but they find one. They find someone else. Can they get onto Adri? Steve is already there. He's getting kited around. The oranges will make it not okay. Godfred drops low. He'll go down to Ralez. This is getting very messy, but this is a 2 for 3 overall. Willib is being chased down by Jankos. He wants him. This is going to take a while if he wants the kill.
Well, Ralez is going to join as well, but sloppy start from Rocket. Nukeduck didn't flash away. He decided to stay in and fight and see what he could do, but getting caught out a little bit on the side of Rocket. Willib is still getting chased, and there we go, goes down. But really now is the time for Giants if they want to get back in this game. Even though it's looking almost impossible, you have stacked up your tier, you have Trinity Force. I mean, that is basically the strongest your Ezreal is going to be, really, right now. But your Kalista is still very far behind. And Adri even gone for second item, Last Whisper. So he has not enough attack speed really to have much of an impact. He's obviously looking at the fact that the double AD carry. Still don't agree with it because it's only the Gragas who's going to stack armor on the side of Rocket. That should have been a Hurricane.
Oh, Jankos dropping low here. He will be backing away. Happy Hour will regen some of that HP as Nukeduck and Jankos make their escape. Just need to back up here. Sundisk comes up. And still, Giants are trying to close in. Godfred is here. Just jump over the wall from Peppy. Good explosive cask will disengage. And yeah, Peppy will be stopped by this minion wave. But if we... Actually, Rocket pushing down middle lane as well. This could go down.
Well, they have no TP and Nukeduck yet, and Jankos is far away, so they should just back away, take the dragon instead. But yeah, as we said before here, Rocket got caught out a little bit. In the end, though, they managed to turn the fight around because they're so far ahead in gold. Can even go and take the Baron from it. We're just at that point of the game where they can make so many mistakes and hardly get punished for it because they've done so much work before this.
Yeah, but if you think about like the games the Giants have won, it's all been about like maybe falling behind early. Yes, that's a lot of damage from Nukeduck. And then getting back into the game because they have such good scaling. Remember, Pepinero back when Runglaive Ezreal was a thing. Even almost took a game against Fnatic even. But they don't have something in the late game here. They just kind of flop.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between AP Ezreal and AD Ezreal in the late game. So yeah, while they have been able to pull that to late game from time to time in the past, not the case anymore. The meta very much shifting far away from a lot of the poke we see. You can still play it. Yeah. Still think there are some good poke compositions you can run, but you see more and more Victor, Z, and so on. We've seen it for a long time, obviously.
But that was even a good adaptation from Rocket, because they decided to ban the Varus in this game. So even if Giants wanted to change their playstyle, go for a poke composition, kind of what they have here with Pepinero, they couldn't pick the Varus. Like, Rocket kind of just read them like a book in the picks and bans.
Definitely so. And getting all the picks they wanted on their side. Yeah. Gangplank is here, first rotation, this one. pushing onto the tower. There's a TP behind. This is the fight for Giants to win.
Yeah, Godfred is still on the front lines. He's dropping low. Still the unbreakable Will is up. Whirlup was there and Whirlup is gone very quickly. Adri also taken down as he flashes away. Pepinero will be getting away with the arcane shift, but he's chased into his own jungle, gets slowed down. Nuke Dog takes him out of the Sand Soldiers. Rala is picking up that one. A 3-0, and it looks like Rocket are coming in for the jugular.
Got the minions, they got the time. 3 guys down from Giants, and Rocket really looking dominant in this game.
Here it is, Deficio. The first tower going down, there's the second. No one can contest from Giants, and they will be moving on to the Nexus. Rocket, they clean sweep this series. 3-0 up against Giants. They take the win home.
Just gotta give it to Rocket here. Full control. In this game, entire time basically, after the 1 tower dive. Game 1 and game 2, after they got out the early game, Rocket had the goal lead. They had the map control, great vision from Vander and Jankos together. All 3 games, Rocket using it very well. And honestly, just a level above Giants in both pick and bans and also in game.
Yeah, well executed. They assume direct control, as you mentioned. Going to be very interesting to see how they fare in the rest of the gauntlet now in the regional qualifier.
Well, tomorrow's Origin.
It's next,
and
it's going to be a big challenge.
The thing is, it's so difficult now for the teams starting all the way down here, Giants and Rocket, because even, you win the first best out of 5, well, then tomorrow you play another one. If you win that one, well, then Monday you face Unicorns of Love in another best out of 5. So there's a lot of work to be done between the best out of 5s, because you got to look at your own game and say, okay, what did we mess up? What can we fix? Can we fix it over just one day? I don't even think the team will have time to scrim, maybe, if there's anyone they could face. Otherwise, you're gonna just look at replays as a team and say, okay, here and here and here we made some mistakes. We gotta fix that for Origin, because they will punish you. They will absolutely destroy you if you make mistakes in the early game. They are the favorites, Origin, to take the whole thing and go to Worlds. But the pick and ban phase for Rocket is spot on right now. They have the champion pools for it. And in-game as well, we saw a lot of positive things for them.
We saw a lot of positives for them, and we were talking so much about the early game and how they transitioned to the mid game. That caused a lot of inconsistency for them over the season. They seem to have fixed those in this series at least, but they're also helped by the fact that Giants fell behind early. How will they do in the rest of the series? That's what we're going to find in the rest of the gauntlet. But yeah, I completely agree. There's not a lot of time for them to adapt from series to series. You're facing a whole different team and another best of 5, a team that you have to read. And honestly, you just have to look at your own play and be like, this is where we can fix something. This is where we can do something else.
But also they had, obviously a few weeks coming into the gauntlet. They just didn't know who they would be facing in the second round if they beat Giants. Because Origin obviously didn't get locked into this spot before they lost the final, and H2K won the 3rd place match, so they went straight to Worlds. And that's why you had a whole week basically to prepare for Origin. Everything should have been done and sorted for Giants already. So I expect to see a well-prepared Rocket. Also, I think the R1 team's doing a very good job when it comes to setting up before these series here. It's just going to be so different. Again, the few mistakes we get to see from them in this match, it cannot happen. You got to play it out almost flawless. We saw it again when Fnatic made mistakes against Origin. They got punished and ended up losing the games. And Fnatic had been such a dominant team in Europe. So we're going to see a very different game. But I'm very excited to see the best out of 5 tomorrow, because those 2 teams definitely should bring on a good series. I still think Origin will be the heavy favorites, obviously.
Yeah, of course. I mean, just the fact that they played so well against Fnatic in Stockholm, the fact that they took games off them is a pretty big deal. But yeah, I completely agree with Fisher. But we are going to toss it to Quickshot on stage for a word with a few members of Rocket.
Thank you very much, guys. I am, in fact, joined by Vander here and Steve. Congratulations on the clean sweep 3-0. Let's talk about the series, first of all, as a whole. It looked relatively clean and simple for you guys. Vander, how was it so clean for Rocket to win the series?
So my thought before this game was like, if we don't win 3-0 today, then we have nothing to look for tomorrow, because Origin is a much better team than Giants. So we just knew what we're going to pick, what we're going to play. They pretty much let us do what we wanted, and it was as planned.
Yes, it definitely was as planned. Picks and bans was something we were impressed with on the analyst desk quite a lot. Steve, how did the pick and ban play out? And then your execution seemed a lot cleaner than in the regular split. Why was that?
Well, for pick and ban, we didn't know if they played Ludus or first game they picked it, but then they started banning it. That was the only problem we had, but other than that, we had all the picks we wanted. And for my execution, well, I just got more confident. This game, I mean, this series compared to UL series was way better for me.
I want to actually expand on that. I personally loved your Gangplank. I think you showed barrel mechanics that was superior to Huni from the finals.
Yeah.
And seeing that you, so as Huni, have played, talk to me about Gangplank in the top lane and how important it is on this patch 5.14.
Well, first of all, I don't think I'm better than Huni on GP. Like, I missed most of my barrels. I'm still learning it. And wait, what was the question again?
How important is GP then on the patch?
Well, GP is really good right now. Even if you have a bad matchup, you can end up farming, one-shotting the waves with your barrels when you have Triforce. So the champion's really strong, I think.
All right, well, we'll see how important it is.
So in our practice games, like we didn't know that GP is that strong, and then Huni started playing it a bit, and he was 10-0 every game, so we can say that student overcame his master, you know?
The student overcame the master. We'll find out if you guys make it to Worlds one day.
Yep.
Vander, I want to expand on that. You said during practice you found out it was very strong. How long ago was this practice, and how was your preparation, considering we're now actually 2 patches behind live?
So it was just after the UL game. We played some games with Fnatic, and like we play on this patch for a long time already, so we pretty much know right now really well what's good and what we should pick, right?
Yeah, and definitely worked out. One last question now for Vander. Let's talk about your shot calling in game. This series, more than most, we saw some clear objective focus. Game 2, you closed out in 32 minutes. Is this something you've actively worked on in your training outside of the patch preparation?
Yeah, we lacked a lot of shot calling, and when we played last season, it wasn't really nothing up to me. It was more overpower shot calling, and then Zazus as well. He was like assigning lanes and this kind of shit. We had things, I say. We had it divided. And so this season, like not me nor Jankos were shot calling last season, and I wanted to like work on this a lot, and I think I got much better at it. But let's see if I'll be able to outshot call me tomorrow.
Well, best of luck in that series. You will be taking on Origin tomorrow. Congratulations again, guys, on that 3-0 sweep. For now, we're going to head back up to the analyst desk to round out the series.
Thank you so much, Quick Shot, a happy Vander and a happy Steve there, and rightfully so. 3-0 here for ROC over Giants. Let's quickly recap the game that just happened and the picks and bans there. Another style coming out from the Giants. Once again, something we've seen them trying before in a like poke comp, but just too little. And even with the adaptations, it was clear that ROC was far ahead.
I just think, looking at the bans, Giants banned out Shen, Lulu, and Fizz. They need to hit the gym because they can't flex anything right now. And it's so poor because you lose all the pressure. It's bad fun, just had to make it. But if you look at ROC, for example, they put so much pressure in picks and bans because they've shown we can play all these champions, and we can play them in multiple roles. If you want to get rid of them, then you shoot yourself in the foot because we get the OPs anyways. Because ROC on first rotation get Gangplank and a Zir. Trade away then Elise, okay, but you can match that with a Gragas, and suddenly picks and bans are, in my opinion, already over.
And really, this comp here from Giants, it wasn't even like poke. I don't know what it was. It was like, we have some poke in here on the Israel, then we have some skirmish on the Kalista, and then we have a big frontline tank, but we can't really teamfight at all against what we have on the other side. But we can't poke either because there's too much hard engage, and we can't really win the lane either. So like, I don't know, it was kind of strange. I think in the end, there was like comfort picks. Pepinero, what do you want to play mid? Israel, okay, what do you want to carry? Okay, Kalista is open. Let's see if we can just try and win the early game and take it from there.
I think one of the most frustrating things about watching this pick and ban phase was in every game, there was always something that was like, oh, Giants are just hamstringing their carries. This game, it was a Maokai onto Werlib. Werlib's a playmaker. Sure, you can make plays with Maokai, but you need the rest of your team to get ahead. Ezreal going tier means you've got to be very careful about the fights that you do pick and where you do fight. And we saw Rocket controlling the early game every game. You were never going to get preferential fights in the early game with a Maokai and an Ezreal on your 2 playmakers unless somehow Rocket give you them.
Also, Giants, this lane swap just didn't work for them. Kalista was 1v1, and Kalista excels as a pick because she works so well with her support. Every 2 hits you do, 12% of the maximum HP disappears. He was playing 1v1. Later on, he got 1v1 by Jankos under the tower. Audrey couldn't get his mark on this game. Godfrey was roaming, not getting anything done. And in the meanwhile, Pepinero versus Nukta, the matchup that we were looking at the start of today, became Rocket versus Pepinero. They just kept killing him over and over and over, and we kind of combined the stats. And over the course of these 3 games, Pepinero went 0-5-1. So he did nothing except die 5 times. This is up to 15 minutes.
Sure.
Whereas Nuktak, he went 7-0-8. He was involved in 15 kills in the first 15 minutes over this 3-game series. So clearly we have a victor in this matchup.
It
And it's
wasn't a zero, actually.
It wasn't a zero, twice at least. But very strange just to see how Giants were moving around in the early game. Because again, this, as you said, it's Rocket versus Pepinero almost. Where was the help for Pepinero himself?
Yeah.
You know,
Team, please.
Godfred, I think you can learn a lot from watching a support in a lane swap and how good teams are playing lane swaps. He almost looked out of place. Oh, he was too late at roaming, or then he was at the wrong side, you know, where suddenly he was sitting top lane with no flash, super overextended, went back, only got boots, 0 wards, and then what is Rocket going to do? Walk up and obviously just kill the Maokai and the Alistar at the same time because there was 0 vision. Mid lane, no help coming in from Frederick in terms of vision as well. So Pepinero's just left on his own. He's blind, basically can't see anything, and 5 guys are just standing ready to smack him in the head. It's tough to do anything.
Yeah, but with that, though, the Giants, you still have to remember, of course, it's their very first season. They did make playoffs now. So what does this say for you guys? Is this the Giants hitting a wall in the end? Or is this finally Rocket showing that they are incredibly prepared for this gauntlet and that maybe some other teams will also have a very hard time stopping them?
I think it's clear Rocket are playing to the patch with a lot of their picks. Everything that they're doing in picks and bans seems to be there. Flashes of the skill that we've heard about from Rocket, Nuke Duck specifically in this series was, his Azir was great. I think Rocket are generally on the up, so it's a good sign for Rocket fans, but there's not a whole lot of games for them to play like that in the rest of this regional qualifier.
This is a mix. You know, Giants have hit the wall.
Yeah.
Right now, they're not going to get any better as it is on this patch, you know, in this situation. And of course, Rocket came in prepared. We mentioned how they have the flex picks, they have Azir, they have all the picks they need in the meta. Is it enough against Origin? Because now your individual skill will get tested a lot more. Steve on Gangplank had an okay performance. I wasn't 100% impressed by it. Compared to what Source showed in the final, I see a big difference, and that's going to matter quite a lot. If Steve can outplay Source, Rocket will have a chance.
Yeah, definitely comes down to individual matchups. In addition to the team play, I think Rocket looked better, but we can't forget that we're playing for a spot at World Finals right now, so we can't judge these teams just within each other. So we need to get to not a world-class level, but good enough to compete for a spot at Worlds. And then Origin showed in the final against Fnatic, yeah, we're the real deal. Rocket, I think they took good steps, and it's hard to judge up until you actually get punished for your mistakes. Because everything is easy, especially look at game 1. Giants, they let Rocket slowly play the game. We compared it to Rocket was playing the map in slow motion because they could. There was no pushback. We pointed out just now, whenever they're ganking Pepinero, where was the rest of the Giant squad? No proactivity, no vision control. Rocket kind of got away with the game, and hopefully tomorrow that will be challenged by Origin.
They did, but tomorrow indeed as they face OG, and we're going to hear a little bit about that matchup, but we're going to come back to our discussion in just a minute because Quickshot is standing by on stage for a word with Jankos and Yamato Cannon.
Thank you very much. I am here joined by Jankos and Yamato, and I want to talk about the matchup that you guys have tomorrow, another best of 5 against Origin, a team that many people are calling the second best team in Europe. Yamato, let's start with you and discuss what, in Rocket's opinion, are Origin's strengths as a team?
I think individually they are very, very good. I think their strength is the fact that they have very, very few weaknesses. I think it will be a question of who plays better. And I think with the performance we did today, I think we can contest for the world spot.
Well, it definitely seems to be the case. We heard analysts there saying in a moment ago, Rocket on the up and up. Strong 3-0 today. Jankos, talking about tomorrow's matchup against Amazing, how different will that be than today's matchup against Frederick?
I mean, Amazing is good. That's the first thing. And Frederick is like just a jungler. So I think overall is going to be much different. And Amazing overall prioritizes helping his teammates over farming jungle. So usually he tries to camp in the bushes and gang a lot and make stuff happen. So I think it's going to be tough for me. I think he's really good lately, and that's it basically. I don't think there is like much for me to prepare against him, like he plays standard champs and stuff like this, so nothing special, but just very good.
So very good. Feels like you have a strong opinion about specific things he's going to do. Does this come into your preparation, knowing you have 3 best of 5s to play, and if you win one, you have to do another, if you win that, you have to do another, and that's the team that beat you, Unicorns of Love at the end. What's it like preparing for 3 best of 5s in a row?
Well, I don't really care about this. We just prepare kind of step by step. For example, we didn't talk about Origin yet. We'll talk about this now. Because here is the Giants, then it's Origin, and then it's, well, go home or play UL, you know. So I think it's actually pretty fun to prepare like for 3 BO5s. And it's a lot of experience on stage as well, because you play day after day, and then you can warm up one day, and then play some better opponents next day, and it's fun. I like it.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those better opponents against you guys tomorrow. Origin, of course. Let's turn back to Yamato Cannon and talk about some picks and bans. Analyst Desk was praising picks and bans for ROCAT all day long, looking at the likes of the Shen, the Lulu, the Fizz, the Azir, everything that is strong in 514 and that Gangplank. So how does that come into your preparation against Origin, who have a very similar champion pool and demonstrates it against Fnatic?
I think there's a very clear difference between like my preparation against Giants and Origin. I think the fact that Origin played against Fnatic, they poured their heart out, played the best they could, played very, very well. I think with that in mind, they showed what they play, they showed all their cards, and they bled, and if it bleeds, you can kill it.
If it bleeds, you can kill it. The man who will be tasked to kill it will be Jankos tomorrow. How much can you learn from watching Origin in the semifinals and the finals to find out whether or not you can actually kill them in the regional qualifier tomorrow?
Well, I don't really think I would learn much from semis. I think overall Fnatic showed pretty strong performance, but I think Fnatic kind of underperformed in those BO5. And obviously, I think Origin, like they are beatable, but I would say they are a better team than we are at this very moment. So we are kind of the underdog coming to the series. So I'm glad about this and see what happens, you know.
It's good to hear a little bit of honesty there, talking about the underdogs, something ROCAT have struggled with a little bit. Yamato, let's go for one last question, talking about pick and ban strategy. Today, you guys prioritized red side against Giants. We know tomorrow you'll be prioritizing blue side against Origin. What are some of the decision factors when a team opts into either blue or red, and why?
I don't want to reveal too much, but it's a question of what kind of priorities the teams have shown in the past, trends, and also like research in general. And I feel that Origin has just a better champion pool for 5.14, so my priorities get shifted around. I don't want to reveal too much.
That's fair. That's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
I won't ask you to explain more. I just want to congratulate you again on the 3-0 victory. I'm looking forward to the best of 5 tomorrow. Congrats, guys. So to round out the series and the day, we're going to head back over to the analyst desk.
Well, thank you so much, Quickshan. Just a reminder, the NALCS's first regional qualifier match between Cloud9 and Gravity will be coming your way in just a little while. Stay tuned. They have to get set up over there. Of course, that gives us time to preview the OG versus ROCAT match and talk a little bit about this interview. Who plays better will win. Thanks, Yamato, for that one.
Yeah, thank you, Yamato, indeed. And thanks to Jankos for saying they haven't really prepared for Origin as a team yet.
Not buying that one.
I don't buy it, but at the same time, you know, in the office this week, we've been kind of alluding to the format like the Elite Four. That felt more like ROCAT just got the Boulder badge from Pewter City, and now they have to go face Lance straight away, and they haven't even prepared.
Technically, this is not so Elite 4. You know, the Elite 2 are kind of locked in for Worlds already, so we're going...
With the root the boot.
Yes,
Ouch.
not so Elite 4 with like a reverse gym leader setup because the final boss is in round 2 already because that's Origin.
I don't know what you youngsters are talking about.
Where was your childhood,
I know.
Chop?
Come on.
I know.
Everyone knows Pokemon.
Anyways, TLDR, Jankos claims they haven't prepared for Origin. If that's true, then I think they might have some troubles.
So obviously they've been watching the semifinals, they've been watching the final, so they probably have taken some notes already. I would assume also they're putting in a lot of time this week because they knew they were facing Giants for a long time now, so you could do all your prep for Giants before the final even was played. And then after you look at Origin and say, okay, what if we win against Giants? What do we do? The blue side is very interesting, how blue side, purple side, obviously for ROCAT. I guess for blue side very often, if everyone plays like the meta picks, you will do more OP bans than direct target bans. But when you're facing like Giants, you ban Jax Morgana almost every game, so that makes the red side a little bit easier because you then get 2 OP picks in the first rotation on red side. That could be a change.
Let's actually take a look because you talk about the meta picks at the picks or what ROCAT has shown so far and what maybe overlaps with the players on OG, the matchup that we'll be seeing tomorrow. A couple of ones in there. Of course, the Gangplank, no surprise, but some things in there could prove to be an edge for ROCAT.
So I think Gangplank will almost guarantee be banned out completely unless Steve actually plays the Riven, which is the notorious pseudo counter. We never saw it in action, but we kind of deduced that from picks and bans OG versus Fnatic. But I do like the flex picks because you just hide so much information up until the last rotation of picks, and that kind of nullifies blue side versus red side a tiny bit. However, the one crucial matchup I want to look forward to is the Azir in the mid lane. Expect as Azir was lackluster. Nuketox Azir was solid. And that might be an advantage in picks and bans or just generally in-game for Rocket.
Could potentially force Origin to have to ban it away, at least in the start, before they maybe have to adapt to something else because of the fact that Pekka didn't really show up on the champion. But the 5 picks we just saw on the screen could technically be 5 of the bans coming in. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because, again, these flex picks have so much value, and we have seen what Origin can do when they play around Niels. When he gets on these hyper carries late game, and we know Source is a fantastic Lulu player, it's just such a strong comp for them.
Super strong. You actually took the point I was going to make.
I'm reading your mind.
You're
right
reading
here.
my mind. I mean, it's no secret
I
that
am
Origin...
beautiful as well. Thank you very much for thinking that.
Need a little
Stop, you can
confidence
stop
boost
there. I don't want you hearing what's in my head next. But, you know, it's obvious. Niels, he's been played around so well. It was one of the actual strategies that beat Fnatic, and if they can beat Fnatic with it, I wonder what they can do against the likes of Rocket, the likes of Unicorns of Love. You got to ban that Lulu, man.
Stay on the Lulu pick though. Rocket hasn't been able to show what they can do in that pick so far in the series. I think it's been banned or picked away in almost every game, or literally every game so far. So we'll have to see, especially in game 1, Origin might leave it open the same way teams have left open Elise in the previous stages of Best of 5. Just feel it out, you know. Do you play it? How well do you play it? If you don't, are you afraid of first picking it? Else we'll gladly take it. In that sense, Origin have revealed more information, but they've also shown that they are completely fine playing at least 4 out of these 5 champions. And worst case, put up on a mediocre Azir in the mid lane if they can pinch the remaining champion pool from Nuktak. That is something that has happened in the past as well. Once you figure out what he plays and you take it all away, he was mediocre at best.
And he's normally the guy, he's the guy known for his Lulu play. So if Rocket picks it and sends it into the mid lane, is that really too bad for Origin? In the sense that you kind of get him on a utility champion.
You neutralize him.
You neutralize him in that sense. You get a bit of a farm lane for Pekka then in that case, and it becomes a lot about Mr. Rallis, who is a good AD carry, but I don't think he's been at the level of Niels, at least not when it comes to peaking in this split here. So maybe that is a thing for Origin, saying we don't really care too much about you getting the Lulu. I'm not sure, though. I still think it's such a fantastic strong pick.
I think that's interesting because if in some strange world the Lulu does go over and the Gangplank to Steve, if Origin want to test it, we know Soaz can play up against Huni's Gangplank. They may be comfortable playing it as well. That would give them another damage threat. A lot of hypotheticals and weird picks and bans that we don't really expect to be getting all the way through, but it's a very interesting series with such big overlapping champion pools.
Super, super interesting. And as Yamato so eloquently put at the beginning of the show, he's on top on 5.14. Only took him a couple of weeks, even months. So congratulations on that. Moving away from maybe the picks precisely, some interesting things coming out of Vander there as well. A lot is going to come down to him and Mithy and shot calling precisely in that. Very interesting thought.
I was a big fan of Vander in this series here. I thought his roaming was spot on. Obviously, the Shen play makes it a little bit easier to roam from time to time because sometimes you just have to click your ulti, but that was a very effective strategy to shut down a split push in compensation the Giants were running. And he is good in terms of vision. We know that all split long. Sometimes we maybe argue he wastes a few wards in there, but the shot calling is the key. I don't think they got challenged against Giants when it came to the shot calling, and that is very different against Origin.
Traditionally, Vander has always loved his sidestone. He was, throughout the split, the earliest sidestone buy of all supports overall. However, I feel like this series, he's used it better. The deep vision was on point. Giants is a relatively easy team to lane swap against because they often make one of those crucial mistakes. However, still props to Rocket for playing out their lane swaps relatively well. And then putting that division in between the 2 lanes they were playing around and then facilitating dives. They multiple times they identified the right objective and went for that, sometimes lacking in execution. But Rocket shot calling definitely has improved, and now we can see why they were struggling earlier too. You don't very often get a peek in the mind of a team unless you straight up ask them why was it not so great earlier. He came out and said, yeah, it was Zaxus and overpower shot calling first. Me and Jankos had to learn it, and I think progression has been shown by Rocket. Then again, they're going up against Mithy and Amazing as a shot-calling duo, which has steadily been progressing throughout the LCS as well. If we go back to their Challenger days, that is night and day.
Right, and as a whole, just the way Rocket kind of adapted their play with the vision control, everything, this felt closer to what Yamato was talking about with, you know, playing the right way for Rocket. However, how much of that was given to them by Giants in this series, how much of that was let over, I don't think they'll get away with as much against Origin, but it is an improvement for sure.
Yeah, we will see what happens. We also asked on Twitter if anyone could see what the best strategy would be in the regional qualifier, and at that, Hatchap writes, I think the best strategy for the regional qualifier is Origins. Let it just be by far the best team in this tournament strategy, which is quite interesting because all the eyes are on them and thinking that the 3rd seed or the 3rd spot from 2 Worlds is going to come to, or is going to go to Origin. Rather, how will that influence them? Because they were the better team. They put up a fight against Fnatic, but now you have to prove it tomorrow and the day after, possibly.
I mean, obviously they should have a lot of confidence going into this, but at the same time, you might be the best team normally, but it's about what you do on the day. So if they show up and they don't perform against Rocket, they can still lose, or against Unicorns of Love on Monday if it is, even though I'm not expecting it. I have to agree with the tweet. It's a good strategy to have. If you can be the best team in the tournament, it should work pretty well for you.
So in the interview, I think it was Jankos who said OG is a bit of a better team than we are, so it's going to come down to the day. If what you've seen from the champion diversity coming out of ROCAT, if each of their players plays to the maximum of their potential on ROCAT, is it then still a 50-50?
Ooh, I don't think it goes to 50-50. I still think even then it's kind of like a 60-40 Origin if Rocket are playing at their absolute best. Rocket have upset Origin before. Yamato wanted Origin in the bracket, if you remember his comments. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. If they are playing to their best, though, it is a close series, and I'm expecting more than 3 games.
Yeah, and who was on his game 100% today at today's series was NukeDuck. He did more than his fair share to bring Rocket to round 2 of the tournament with a KDA of 15 at 15 minutes in 3 games. He is our player of the series, NukeDuck. Fantastic Azir, which is definitely something to look at. But in general, good series.
A very good series. I mean, NukeDuck just been stepping up the further we get into this season here. Really become the big playmaker for Rocket as a team. Him and Rallis. I mean, Rallis is a very consistent carry as well. But we just gotta praise Rocket as a team here, setting up NukeDuck so well. I mean, he did a lot, but then also Jankos and Vander so on, always being there to almost feed him the kills.
I haven't done the math exactly, but I wonder what happens if you pinch his champion pool. If you take away 3 of his champions, first pick the 4th one, force him into very predictable patterns in terms of champion picks. That's when NukeDuck has struggled throughout the year. Only when Jace Varus meta came back into the swing of things, he kind of picked up again and had these stellar performances. His Azir before that wasn't the greatest. He has worked on that. Actually, with the removal of the knockup, his ultis have actually become a lot better. So in that regard, it could be an approach that we see from Origin in addition to just protecting Expected in the mid lane. Because that could, in my head, be the only matchup that is maybe slightly tilted towards Rocket.
Problem is just if we look at his champion pool that he's shown so far, I mean, we know Victor is there, we know Azir is there, we know Lulu is going to be a pick for him, Fizz as a flex pick for them as a team. So we got already 4 good picks right there you got to get rid of in some way. And then we've seen the Yasuo pick. If Pekka wants to run the poke, like we saw Varus come in as a last pick versus Fnatic. Corki mid. Not expecting that one too much, but it is an option. I mean, he's a guy who's shown, at least right now, he has a lot of different champions. But then you got to value how effective is, like, Corki mid compared to an Azir is night and day for me, at least.
Right, and he's grown so much since the days of just ban LeBlanc, and that's kind of NukeDuck out of the picture. Those were the days where it was like, man, he's crushing everybody in scrims, but when it gets to the stage, doesn't seem to be happening because people have just banned him out. So, as you said, much wider champion pool, more comfortable as well on so many more champions when it comes to it. He's winning laning phases a lot better than he was before. Feels a lot more confident in the games.
Stepping away from the matchup, though, thinking about Steve, he had a good series so far. However, he fell behind against some of these niche picks from Whirlib. If he's matched up 1v1s against Soaz, I think bad things will happen for Rocket, so we might see a lot of lane swaps tomorrow.
And also what happened last time these two teams faced each other and Rocket managed to beat them, it was a lot about what Jankos and Vander could do together to shut down Mythi and Amazing. Because that suddenly saved Steve from a potential one-on-one because now Soaz couldn't play aggressive because obviously he didn't have any vision control because that had been shut down. So a lot of fights going on all across the board here, but I definitely agree on Soaz being the stronger top laner right now compared to Steve because he looked amazing.
A lot to think about, going into tomorrow's matchup. But in any case, with that win, Rocket are 1 step closer to Worlds 2015. As we talked about here already, their next challenge comes tomorrow as they face Origin in a 5-game set. And then after that, possibly, of course, the Unicorns of Love coming as well. Is it fair to say in this one that tomorrow's matchup will be a very big indicator of our seed?
I think so, because both teams from tomorrow's matchup will have an analyst that's gone, Unicorns of Love. Their picks and bans is predictable. We're comfortable facing against whoever. Unless somehow Unicorns have come up with something in the last week. I don't think you can learn Azir and Kalista in a week as a team, but that's not to count them out quite yet.
Yeah, I've seen Martin try. Takes definitely more than a couple of weeks to learn Kalista.
That Kalista, man. Too hard to play. Ban it.
Ban it away. But yeah, Unicorns, they were predictable. And in addition to that, the sheer amount of confidence you get, either it's Origin confirming that they can still beat the other teams, they can go ahead and probably take that series home. And if Rocket magically somehow win, well, then they'll have so much confidence and such good execution needed to do that, that they will likely beat the Unicorns. However, Never rule them out. You
Nope.
know, Unicorns Fnatic's been split. Everybody thought it was an easy sweep for Fnatic. Ended up going 5 games, so anything can happen.
Yes, even though Unicorns have looked a lot worse.
Ah, sorry,
Right,
hype,
I'm
hype,
sorry.
Hey,
I'm
we hype.
sorry. Let's hype the Rocket Origin as much as we want. We need to see a lot more from Unicorns if they are going to win this. Either against
Yep.
Origin or Rocket, it doesn't even matter. We've seen enough from them. Same kind of pick and bans coming in, the same problems. But hey, I mean, Power Weaver, maybe he's going to 1v5.
Maybe. We're going to have to see a lot from Origin, Rocket, or the UOL if they want to make it to World. And around the world, teams are securing their spots at the World Championships. Let's take a look at everything, or all the teams, rather, that have qualified already. Earlier today, of course, at the International Wildcard Tournament in Turkey, GPL's Bangkok Titans, they qualified for Worlds. They beat the Oceania's Chiefs in the final there, and a lot of teams from around the world starting to qualify.
Oh, it's filling up for Worlds. The road to Worlds is well underway. Korea locked in 2 teams today, as well as SK Telecom beat KT Rolster 3-0 in today's LCK semifinals for the #1 seed, meaning that the 2nd seed from LCK went over to the KOO Tigers on points.
But what a difference we saw between SKT and the rest of the
Yes.
teams over there. 3-0 in the final. KOO Tigers been looking fairly shaky, or at least inconsistent, we can call them in many ways. I'm looking at China, though. Like, LGG is already locked in. One of my, probably my favorite to win Worlds, as it looks right now. And then suddenly we're going to have 2 more teams coming who could potentially also win Worlds, because like the top of LPL right now is just insanely close.
Yeah, and EDG, the fact that they're still not locked in, guaranteed for Worlds, is such a, a reverse miracle. Just a big question mark. Everybody expected them to sweep throughout the end of the season, but they've just like not been getting there. They've
I
been
don't know what they're
struggling,
doing,
and
man.
some of their members even came out in alleged posts saying, "Yeah, we're not actually looking all that confident anymore." But whatever team makes it from China are definitely contenders for doing well at Worlds. I'm not gonna say just winning it. There's chances there. SKT,
I give it to LGG just as my
Yeah.
But the other teams, do well.
I believe QG is still in the race.
They are.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan personally of QG and their playstyle, so definitely looking forward to those matches. Definitely watch them. China
And
is
your boy Swift, of
my
course.
boy Swift. That's what I always talk about. That guy can jungle. He can counter jungle, neutralize the enemy jungler. If you want to watch the series, I think it was against Kakao, where he did some great things. So Swift, fantastic jungler. Definitely check
Only
that
watch
out.
game 1 and 2 though if you want to see him dominate, because the next few games was
No, game 3 he was down and he still played well.
fine. Game 3. Don't watch game 4.
Yeah, stop game 4.
Watch everything, come on.
Certainly a lot of hype for LPL and LCK's regional qualifiers. I believe LCK starts on Wednesday. That's KT Rolster, CJ Entus, Najin and Jinair. Jinair and Najin start that one off. So some hype games there. Friday is the LPL with EDG, Snake, QG, and IG, I believe it is. So those are some awesome games. So put them in your calendar, because it's good. It's Worlds, Martin.
It's Worlds.
It's Worlds. It's
Soon
nearly Worlds.
Soon it's Worlds, not just yet. And then, of course, Saturday, we have our promotion tournament. So make sure to watch that one as well.
So much action, clear your calendars. But here in Europe, the regional qualifier will continue tomorrow, starting at 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time. That is 8 a.m. Pacific. Then we'll shoot it over to the North American LCS crew for their round 2 bout of the winner of today's match and Team Impulse. That will be Gravity or Cloud9, who's facing Team Impulse. A cheeky prediction.
I mean, Incarnation will take Cloud9 to the next round. You know, the hype is real.
I see it. I mean, you're so excited
I
right
mean,
now.
I'm so
Can't
excited.
spell hype without high.
But then Team Impulse will beat them, and that's it.
Yeah, both teams actually kind of took a dip. Well, Cloud9 took a dip throughout the entire season. Gravity took a dip towards the end, but it'll be hard. They always had a lot of time to practice and watch different regions. You know, 5.15 has been out a long time, so new picks can arise. Incarnation, if he feels comfortable on a patch, can be a fantastic player. So, yeah, maybe C9.
I mean, we haven't seen them play for such a long time. We don't really know. They've obviously been hiding a little bit like Giants, or even more, because we didn't even see them in quarterfinal.
Altec still is a fantastic AD carry too. You know, he escaped the crippled gravity chamber. Now he can show his true power, and he has throughout the split. So yeah, maybe he can do the darndest things for Gravity.
Well, we'll just have to see if Gravity is going to have a big effect on Cloud9 and rain on their parade.
All right, it's time to hand it over. I think this is a good setup
Please
also
move.
for our friends over in
Busted
LA.
shots.
We need to go on cooldown for the night, but it's time to send it over to Los Angeles, California for Cloud9 versus Gravity. Thank you so much for joining us for the first round of the 2015 regional qualifier, and we'll see you back here tomorrow as ROCAT take on Origin.
It's time to load up for the first game of the 2015 European Regional Qualifier. There's the hook going down to him as well. Frederick with the last couple autos, but Nuke Dog over the wall. Great ultimate will knock all the aggressors away.
I'm on Jagas on Crash.
Yeah. Trundle will be on this side. I ulti...
Trundle?
Yeah. Go Trundle.
I'm on Lulu flash. Lulu flash.
Go 1-0 to Rocket. Max range on that Shadow Dash will get him to safety. Oh! But the true damage doesn't connect. Now the teleport's coming in. Whirlip's going to be there first. Nuketook gets away with the kill. Whirlip looking for this kill onto Nuketook. He finally gets it with a wreck of the swing. This is Rocket taking game 2 in his best of 5 up against Giants.
You have 0 ping, Nuke. 0.
Yeah.
Null. Oh.
Null? Yeah, null.
Null is in German, I think.
Yeah, I have null ping.
Yeah. So now you can actually make plays with Yasuo. Don't worry.
Not only farm?
Not only farm.
Here, this is not going to work out well for the Giants. Godfred uses the minion taxi to try and get to safety. The flash into the ultimate from Nuketook. Oh, Whirlip CC'd up. Vander's here as well for the party. There's the ultimate coming in from Azir. Takes him out. Vander's the one to pick up the kill. The body slam into the flash should be securing the second. And they will be moving on to the Nexus. Rocket, they clean sweep this series. 3-0 up against Giants. They take the win home.